Hi, welcome to my video on the 30, 60, 90 right triangle, part 2. Find the exact length of the sides. And also note, do the unit on the square root radicals in order to help you understand what I'm trying to do here with the triangles. Square root radical unit has 42 videos. We went through that. Then it would help you with the radicals I'm going to do here, square root radicals. And I asked you to learn the triangle, 30, 60, 90. So opposite to 30 is n. Opposite to 90 is 2n. And opposite to 60 is n root 3. That's the way I do it. I do shortest is n, hypotenuse is twice as long, and the opposite to 60 is n root 3. That's the short leg, that's the long leg, and that's the hypotenuse. Find exact values of each triangle. Let's work out some examples. I have a triangle with 30, 60, 90, and has a 2x and a y. Notice the 2 is opposite to 30, so that means the 2 is the n. So that means that 2 is the n, x is the 2n, so x equals 2n. So n is 2, so that means x is 4. And y is opposite to 60, so the y is n root 3. So if n is 2, remember n is 2 from the diagram, so this is 2 root 3. B, again we have a triangle 30, 60, 90, and we have find x and y. We have given the n, so in this case, n is, look at n, 10 is the 2n. Because opposite to 9, so that means that 2n is equal to 10. And to divide by 2, that means n is equal to 5. So x is n, that means x is 5. And y is opposite to 60, so the y is opposite to 60, so the y is n root 3. So n is 5, so it's 5 root 3. N is 5, so we put the 5 in. So x becomes 5, and y becomes 5 root 3. C, I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle again, and I've given this length, so 60. So that means that 60, opposite 60 is n root 3. So that means n root 3 is 7 root 3. So if we divide by root 3, you see they cancel, n is equal to 7. So that means if n is 7, x is opposite 30, x is n, so that means x must be 7. And the y is opposite to 90, so the y is 2n. N is 7, so 2 bracket 7, 14. So notice what I do, I'm substituting whatever value I know, then I set that up equal to n, 2n, n root 3, and then I work out the other ones. So in D, I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle. So opposite 30, I got root 2. So opposite 30 is n. So that means n is root 2. So what is y? Y is opposite 90. So y is 2n. So that's n is root 2. So 2 times root 2 is 2 root 2. And x is opposite to 60. Opposite to 60 is n root 3. So x is n root 3. So n is root 2. And there's n root 3, so that means multiplication. So that's root 2 times root 3 is root 6. And we found the unknown values of x and y. E, I have 30, 60, 90 again, and I have 3 given. I got to find A and B. So 3 is opposite to 90. So that means that 2n is equal to 3. That means n must be 3 over 2 when we divide. They cancel out. So now that means that 30 is B. So opposite of 30 is B, opposite of 30 is N. So B is equal to N. So that means B is 3 over 2. And A is opposite to 60. Opposite to 60 is N root 3. So N is 3 root 2. Sorry, 3 over 2 root 3. That's a multiplication. So hopefully you can see the pattern that I'm implying here. The thing is to be consistent. Be consistent. Again, do you know your triangle? Well, it doesn't make any difference where you put your 30 or your 60. So you put your 30 there and 60 there. You could put 60 here and 30 there. It makes no difference. So opposite to 30 goes N. Opposite to 90 goes 2N. And opposite to 60 goes N root 3. I have it memorized for years and years and years. I memorized this triangle. Again, as you can see, the hypotenuse is twice as long as the short side. Some people write down those statements whatever way you want. And some people will say that the long side is N root 3. So, your choice. Find exact values of each. Here we go again. Practice means pause the video and work these out. So I have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, and I have opposite 30 is the 9. So what's opposite 30? N. So that means we have N is equal to 9. What is X? X is opposite to 90. Opposite to 90 is 2N. So N is 9, so that makes that 18. And Y is opposite to 60. Opposite to 60 is N root 3. So N is 9, so it's 9 root 3. Number 2, we have a 30, 60, 90 again. We have the hypotenuse is 15. So I look up here and the hypotenuse is 2N. So that means that 2N is equal to 15. Divide by 2. N is 15 over 2. Leave it as a fraction. You could go 7.5. It's better to leave it as a fraction when we have radicals. And so we want y. I could put x or y. Y is opposite to 30. Opposite to 30 is n. So y is n. So n is, y is n. So y is 15 over 2. And we have x. X is opposite to 60. Opposite to 60, x is n root 3. So n is 15 over 2 root 3. Notice n root 3 means n times root 2. So 15 over 2 root 3 times. There's a multiplication understood to be here. That's like writing 6x. 6 times x. We don't put the times in. Number 3, we have a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, and we have a 4 root 3. So what's opposite 60? N root 3. So n root 3 equals 4 root 3. And you can see that even if I didn't divide, that n must be 4. But if I divide by root 3, which I don't have to, they cancel it and I get n is equal to 4. But you can see if n root 3 equals 4 root 3, n must be 4 without even dividing. And now I have n. I want a t. T is opposite to 90. Opposite to 90 is 2n. So it's 2 times 4, which is 8. Make that an 8. And P is opposite did I say n? P is opposite to 30. Opposite to 30 is n. P is n. So P is 4. N is 4. And number 4, I have a 30, 60, 90 again. And I have find AB. I got a root 21. Now, root 21 is opposite to 60. So opposite to 60 is n root 3. So n root 3 equals root 21. So that means now I divide by root 3. Cancels. And root 21 divided by root 3 is the square root of 7. You can, if you have the two roots like that, you can divide right away. A square root divided by a square root. Now, the mechanics of that could be that root of 21 is 3 times 7. And that's the root of 3 times the root of 7. And they cancel, so that gives you the root 7. And now, B is opposite to 90, so B is 2n. So that's 2 root 7. And let's look at what A is. A is opposite to 30, so A is n, so A is root 7. Okay. Again, memorize. Again, repeat. Opposite to 30 is n. Opposite to 90 is 2n. Opposite to 60 is n root 3. The hypotenuse is twice as long as the short leg. And the long leg is root 3 times the short. That's the short leg because it's opposite to 30. The hypotenuse is the longest side in a right triangle because it's opposite the biggest angle. Here we go. And this time I have 30, 60, 90, and I got opposite to 90 is 11. So that means 2n equals 11. So divide by 2, n is 11 over 2. So if n is 11 over 2, y is opposite 30. Opposite 30 is n, so y is n. So y is 11 over 2. And x is opposite 60. Opposite 60 is n root 3. Oops. It's an n root 3. And n is 11 over 2 root 3. And number 6, we got a 60. If that's a 60 and a 90, this angle here must be 30 because we got to add up to 360. And in this case, I got 30. Across from 30 is n. So that means n is equal to 3 root 2. Okay, what's f? F is opposite 90, so f is 2n. So it's 2 times 3 root 2. And when we multiply, 2 times 3 is 6 root 2. You multiply, when you got 3 multiplications, 2 times 3 is 6, so 6 root 2. And we have the g. The g is opposite 60. Opposite 60 is n root 3. So I have n is 3 root 2 times root 3. So 3 times 1 is 3. Root 2 times root 3 is root 6. Notice I'm leaving it as the exact values, leaving it in the radical form as a square root. I don't change it to a decimal. That's the idea of it. Excuse me. That's the idea of an exact value. And number 7. Oh, let's draw our triangle so we won't get the. Let's see, what's our triangle? There we go. 30, 60, 90. So n is opposite to 30. 2n is opposite to 90 hypotenuse. And opposite to 60 is n root 3. And what do we have here? Let's see. We have opposite to 30 is, so opposite to 30 is n. So n is root 3 over 3. That means x is opposite to 90, so x is 2n. So it's 2 times root 3 over 3. So that's 2 over 1, so that's 2 root 3 over 3. Or you could call it 2/3 root 3, whatever you want, it's your choice. And y is opposite to 60. Opposite to 60 is n root 3. So n is 3 over root 3 times root 3. And that gives us root 3 is over 1. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So that gives me 1. Remember, review your unit on square root radicals. Very important. I made it one. Every video follows each other. So what you learn in 1 helps you in 5. They're sequenced. Number 8, we got a 30, and this is a 90, so this must be the 60-degree angle. So that means that opposite the 90, so opposite the 90 is 2n, so 2n equals 8 root 6 divided by 2. They cancel. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Remember, you can't divide 2 into root 6. You can only divide a root into a root. So that means that W is the n, and W is 4 root 6. And V is opposite to 60. Opposite to 60 is n root 3. So that means that I have 4 root 6 times root 3. So that's 4 root 6 times root 3 is root 18. And root of 18 is 9 times 2. So the square root of 9 is 3 root 2. And 3 times 4 is 12 root 2. That's why it's imperative to do the square root radicals first. So just to check, everything works out perfect. N is the W, perfect. Sometimes you make an error, you got to be careful. Now, this one, I got a 60, 90, so this angle is the 30. So what do we have? We have opposite 60. Opposite 60 is n root 3. So n root 3 is equal to root 5. So that means we divide by root 3. And they cancel, so n equals root 5 over root 3. We got to rationalize the denominator, so we multiply the denominator by root 3, multiply the numerator by root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is a 3. And root 5 times root 3 is root 15. And you can't divide 3 into root 15. Won't work, can't do it. Now that means we have L. L is opposite to 90. Opposite to 90 is 2n. So n is root 15 over 3. So we're multiplying by 2, so that's 2 root 15 over 3. And what is K? K is opposite to 30. K is the n. So K is root 15 over 3. And that's a total review of finding the length of the sides. And just to review again, remember. And this time I'm going to put the 30 here and the 60 here. So opposite to 30 is n. Opposite to hypotenuse is 2n. Sorry, opposite to 90 is 2n. Opposite to 60 is n root 3. And notice this is the short leg. This is the hypotenuse. This is the long leg, in case your teacher is looking at So note the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 2 times the short, and the long leg is root 3 times the short leg. Sometimes I go to spell, I wonder what happens to me. Some people write these statements down. That's the short leg, and this is the long leg. So note, opposite the 30 is n, opposite the 90 is 2n, opposite 60 is n root 3. The hypotenuse is twice the short leg. The long leg is root 3 times the short leg. Different ways to say it. I like this way, or you can go this way, makes no difference. But if you look for what side you have and do the matchup and solve it, and then write the other ones like I did. Hopefully you understand. And use it over and over and over. Click on the buttons, the like buttons, the subscribe button, notification bell, because there are more videos coming. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.